Before Pan Am's flying boats conquered the Pacific, they had to survive an engineer's lunch meeting, a bridge that nearly decapitated a plane, and one pilot who said it felt like flying a forest through the air. This is the story of how two giants, the Sikorsky S-42 and the Martin M-130, changed the world. I'm Bill, and this is Buffalo Air Park. Let's dive in. So, you want the inside scoop on the most amazing flying boats that opened the Pacific skies? The Sikorsky S-42 and the Martin M-130, better known as the China Clipper. Think of them as two siblings born from the same dream, one the brilliant trailblazer, the other the glamorous celebrity who stole the spotlight. The birth of ocean flight. In the early 1930s, American Airways wasn't just an airline, it was an empire in the making, and its visionary boss, Juan Trippe, wanted nothing less than to stitch the world together by air. He needed a machine that could leap oceans, and he wasn't shy about asking for the impossible. So, he challenged America's best designers to build a flying boat that could cross vast stretches of water. Two men answered: Igor Sikorsky, the Russian genius of rotors and wings, and Glenn L. Martin, the master of metal hulls and horsepower. But before greatness came, well, something a little uglier. The flying forest and a lunchroom revolution. Trippe's first ocean-hopping behemoth was the Sikorsky S-40, a beautiful disaster if there ever was one. Pan Am's technical advisor, none other than Charles Lindbergh, called it an abominable monstrosity. He said flying it was like piloting a forest through the air, all struts, wires, and drag. So, right there aboard an S-40 flight, Sikorsky and Lindbergh grabbed the lunch menu, flipped it over, and started sketching something cleaner, sleeker, something worthy of the ocean. That doodle became the Sikorsky S-42. The S-42, elegant, efficient, and a bit underfueled. When it rolled out, the S-42 looked like it had been designed in the future and dropped into the 1930s. It was fast, streamlined, and innovative, with flaps big enough to double as barn doors and instruments that synchronized its four engines in perfect harmony. It had the soul of a racer, not a transport. Pan Am used it for Latin American routes, where its 1,200-mile range was plenty. But when Trippe set his sights on the Pacific, he had a problem. The first leg, California to Hawaii, was twice that distance. Did that stop him? Of course not. He simply gutted the S-42's luxurious cabin, ripped out the seats and sleeping areas, and filled the fuselage with extra fuel tanks. The result? A flying gas can with wings. In 1935, the stripped-down Pan American Clipper made the first survey flights across the Pacific. No passengers, just charts, courage, and caffeine. It didn't carry glory, it paved the way for it. How a lunch sketch changed the world. The S-42 was so advanced that it rattled foreign governments. The British refused to let Pan Am use their Atlantic bases until they could match it, a political standoff that eventually helped shape the 1944 Chicago Convention, the treaty that still governs international air travel. Not bad for a design scribbled on a napkin. Enter the star, the Martin M-130 China Clipper. Then came the Martin M-130, bigger, bolder, and built for headlines. It stretched 130 feet across the wings, could carry twice the load, and was finished like a luxury yacht that happened to fly. Only 3 were ever built, but they cost a fortune, $417,000 each, when a top-of-the-line land plane went for $78,000. These weren't just airplanes, they were flying palaces. And leading the fleet was NC-14716, the China Clipper, affectionately nicknamed Sweet 16. The day the world watched. On November 22, 1935, 25,000 spectators packed the Alameda waterfront to watch history take off. Captain Edwin Musick, the same man who'd flown those risky S-42 survey flights, was at the controls. But as the Clipper lumbered into the sky, loaded with nearly 2,000 pounds of mail, Musick realized she wasn't climbing fast enough. The unfinished San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge loomed ahead, and there was no way to clear it. So he did what legends do. He nosed the massive flying boat downward and slipped under the construction cables, threading a 130-foot wingspan through dangling steel like a needle through fabric. Newspapers later called it a planned part of the program. Sure, and I'm the king of Spain. Triumph, tragedy, and strange cargo. Both aircraft eventually met dark fates. In 1938, Captain Music was killed when his S-42B Samoan Clipper exploded near Pano Pano, likely from fuel vapors igniting during a dump. The man who opened the Pacific went down in the very ocean he conquered. The China Clipper served longer, 8 years, hauling mail, passengers, and according to some whispers, secret wartime cargo. Rumors have it she carried uranium ore from the Congo back to the U.S., a theory reinforced by a crewman's family who later claimed they hauled secret cargo more than once. Her luck ran out in 1945 at Trinidad. On approach, she struck something in the water and sank, killing 23 of the 30 on board. The official report said pilot error, but witnesses claim bits of wood were found in the wreckage. Maybe a boat, maybe something else. Either way, the Queen of the Pacific met her end not in glory, but in mystery. The odd afterlife of a flying boat. And just when you think you've heard it all, one S-42, the Brazilian Clipper, retired into a second life. In 1947, a fellow named Lemuel Stewart bought the fuselage for $750 and turned it into a 6-room houseboat in a Miami canal. Imagine telling your guest, yeah, mind the propellers, the bathroom's just past the cockpit. Legacy of the Clippers. Today, not a single S-42 or M-130 survives, but together they changed the world. The Sikorsky proved the Pacific could be crossed. The Martin turned that dream into a luxury reality. One was the pioneer who carved the path through the clouds. The other was the celebrity who walked the red carpet afterward. And that wraps up another tale from aviation's stranger side. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.